Have you ever wondered why, no matter how well you eat or how much you exercise, your legs still feel heavy, stiff, or weak? You try to stay active, eat your fruits, do everything right, but the stairs feel steeper, your knees throb after a short walk, and your body just doesn't move the way it used to. You might think it's just aging, but what if it's something far more subtle and far more dangerous? Because the truth is, there are common fruits that many seniors eat daily that may be silently destroying your strength from the inside out. You deserve to know the truth before it's too late. Before we dive in, if you're over 60 and care about staying independent, strong, and pain-free, this is the place for you. Hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and comment yes if you've ever felt like your legs are getting weaker, or no if you haven't yet. Your comment helps this video reach someone who might really need it. Have you noticed it? Not all at once, but little by little. You reach for the banister more often when you take the stairs. You pause before getting out of your chair. Not because you're tired, but because your knees feel stiff, like they're deciding whether they want to cooperate. Your legs used to carry you through entire days, gardening, walking, visiting friends, errands. Now even a short trip to the store can leave them sore. And the worst part? You don't even know when it started. It just crept in. This isn't about laziness. It's not even about aging. At least not in the way we've been taught to think about it. Take Harold, for example. At 74, he still walked every morning. Same path, same pace. It was his time to clear his head and feel alive. But recently, something shifted. His calves started cramping halfway through. His thighs burned. And when he got home, he had to sit down for 20 minutes just to feel steady again. He hadn't changed anything. His diet was the same. He still exercised, still avoided junk food, still did everything he thought he was supposed to do. So what was happening? Here's the truth no one tells you. Your body doesn't respond to food the same way it did at 40 or even 60. The metabolism slows. Circulation becomes less efficient. Inflammation becomes more reactive. And some of the very foods you once relied on for energy, comfort, and healing are now hurting you. It's not about overeating. It's not about being unhealthy. It's about how even natural foods, especially fruit, can begin to work against you once you cross a certain age. You see, many seniors unknowingly eat foods that cause tiny, invisible damage to the small blood vessels in their legs. These vessels are crucial. They deliver oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. When they're inflamed or constricted, you start to feel heaviness, tightness, weakness. But no one tells you this. They just say, it's age. Harold believed it too. Until one day during a routine doctor visit, he mentioned the leg cramps. His doctor brushed it off. Probably a circulation issue, he said. Just keep walking, stay active, maybe try some magnesium. But something didn't sit right. Harold's instincts told him to dig deeper, and what he discovered shocked him. Several of the fruits he'd been eating daily, fruits he'd always thought were good for his heart, his digestion, his joints, were actually contributing to inflammation, blood sugar spikes, and a slow decline in his lower body strength. It wasn't just Harold, it was his wife too, his neighbor Joe, even his church friend who just had a knee replacement. None of them had ever been warned. That's why we're here today, because if you've felt this creeping weakness, if your legs don't feel as steady as they used to, it may not be just age. It might be your food. And by the time we're done, you'll never look at your fruit bowl the same way again. But before we dive deeper, make sure you're subscribed. Tap the bell so you never miss a life-changing video like this. And tell me in the comments, have you noticed your legs feeling heavier or weaker lately? Just type yes or no. Your story matters more than you think. Let's get to the truth. And it starts with what you're putting on your plate every single morning. When people hear fruit, they think of health. They think vitamins, antioxidants, fiber. They think of those bright posters in doctors' offices that say, eat more produce. We've been told for decades that fruit is nature's gift, a sweet, safe snack. But here's the truth. Not all fruits are safe for aging bodies. In fact, some of them are slowly weakening your legs from the inside out. And you'd never even know it. Because the damage doesn't scream, it whispers. Let's talk about the real problem. And no, it's not just sugar. It's the way certain fruits interact with an older body, a body that digests slower, circulates blood less efficiently, and fights inflammation less effectively than it used to. When you're young, your body can handle fluctuations in blood sugar. It processes acids and carbs with minimal resistance. But after 60, the game changes. Let me explain what's actually happening. As you age, the delicate blood vessels in your legs, especially in the calves, thighs, ankles, become more vulnerable. These tiny vessels are responsible for carrying oxygen-rich blood to your muscles. When they're inflamed or when blood sugar spikes rapidly, those vessels constrict or become damaged. You might not notice it right away, but your body does. Less oxygen to your legs means fatigue, tightness, even pain, especially when walking, climbing stairs, or standing for too long. Ever felt that strange heaviness after a healthy breakfast? Maybe a fruit salad? A smoothie? Let me introduce you to Dolores. She's 68. She gardens. She walks. She's never smoked a day in her life. But for the past year, she's been struggling with swelling in her knees. Her joints ache. She feels like her legs are dragging weights, even when she's just getting out of bed. Her doctor prescribed pain meds, suggested physical therapy, but no one asked her what she was eating. Until one day, her grandson, a nutrition student, asked her to walk through her daily routine. And there it was. Every morning, Dolores made herself what she believed was a super healthy breakfast: yogurt, granola, and a big bowl of pineapple, bananas, grapes, the works. He gently explained what most people don't know. These fruits, while packed with nutrients, are also packed with fructose, acids, and sugars that, for someone over 60, can wreak havoc on circulation, increase inflammation, and subtly damage the legs day after day. She was stunned. "I thought I was doing everything right," she said. "I never even considered the fruit." But that's exactly the problem. Nobody considers the fruit because nobody's talking about this. And that's why it continues. The stiffness, the swelling, the aching after short walks. You think it's your age, but in reality, it could be your breakfast. And if that's the case, then the good news is you can take your strength back. Because once you know the hidden dangers, you can avoid them. Coming up, I'm going to show you the exact fruits you need to reconsider. Starting with one of the most beloved and misunderstood fruits in every kitchen. But first, if this is opening your eyes, hit the like button right now and drop a comment below. What fruits do you eat the most often? I want to know. Because today we're rewriting the rules on what healthy really means. Now, let's talk about the fruit that's been silently sabotaging your joints for years and why it's not what you think. Pineapple. Sweet. Golden. Juicy. It looks like sunshine in a bowl. For decades, it's been praised as a healing fruit, the kind of thing you eat when your joints are aching or your digestion needs a boost. The reason? A natural enzyme inside it called bromelain. You've probably heard it can fight inflammation, ease swelling, and even support post-surgery recovery. But here's the truth almost no one talks about. For many older adults, pineapple is quietly doing more harm than good. See, bromelain might help on paper, but it doesn't travel alone. It's packaged inside a fruit that's acidic, loaded with fast-acting sugars, and deeply reactive in aging bodies. What happens when you eat it? The sugar enters your bloodstream fast. Too fast, it spikes your insulin. And for seniors, especially those dealing with circulation problems, arthritis, or blood pressure issues, that spike can trigger a wave of inflammation that settles right in the legs. You won't feel it immediately. That's what makes it dangerous. It shows up hours later, or even the next day, as stiffness in the knees, a strange heaviness in the ankles, a dragging soreness in the calves after a walk that never used to tire you out. Dolores didn't know that. She was 68, widowed, sharp-minded. She walked every morning, kept her diet clean, and believed in natural healing. Pineapple was part of her daily ritual. In her yogurt, in smoothies, sometimes as a snack with cinnamon on top. And yet, her legs started to betray her. The walks got shorter, her knees ached longer after gardening, and every evening she noticed her ankles swelling just enough to make her slippers tight. The doctors called it age, maybe arthritis, maybe a touch of water retention, but Dolores knew her body too well. She started reading, learning. She discovered what few seniors are ever told, that pineapple, with all its sweetness and supposed anti-inflammatory promise, was actually triggering the very pain she was trying to avoid. And it wasn't just the sugar, it was the acid, sharp enough to irritate joints that were already inflamed. It was the way bromelain interacted with her blood pressure medication, changing how her body absorbed it, making her feel lightheaded one moment and stiff the next. She stopped eating pineapple that week. Within days, her legs felt lighter. The swelling reduced. Her knees didn't burn the same way when she stood up from the couch. For the first time in months, she took her full walk without sitting on the bench halfway through. All that time, she'd been hurting herself with something she thought was helping. And that's the real danger. Pineapple doesn't scream when it damages you. It whispers. It blends in with all the other good habits. It wears a mask of health, and underneath it, it's slowly weakening the very parts of your body you're trying to protect. No one warns you, not your doctor, not the magazine articles, not even the nutritionist, unless they specialize in aging bodies. But your body knows. It always knows. So the next time you see a pineapple in your kitchen, ask yourself, is this fruit still serving your strength, or is it silently stealing it? And if this is striking a chord with you, if you've felt that creeping stiffness or swelling in your legs, stay with me, because next we're talking about the fruit that's even more deceptive. It's gentle, soft, and marketed as the ultimate muscle booster. But for many seniors, it's the reason they feel tired by lunchtime. Let's talk about bananas, the impostor of strength. There's something comforting about a banana. It peels easy, it's soft, sweet, feels harmless, feels healthy. It's the first fruit we're given as kids, and for many of us, it stays a loyal companion into old age. Doctors recommend it, magazines praise it, and everyone seems to agree. Bananas are great for your muscles. But what if that advice isn't quite right anymore? Especially once you cross a certain age? See, bananas do have potassium, and that's important for heart rhythm and muscle function. But they also come with a hidden cost that almost no one talks about. A cost that shows up slowly, quietly in the one part of your body you can't afford to lose strength in, your legs, because bananas are loaded with fast-burning sugars and starches. And when you eat one, especially in the morning, especially alone, those sugars rush into your bloodstream faster than you think. For a younger body, that's not such a big deal. But once you're past 60, the way your body handles sugar changes dramatically. Tom never saw it coming. He was 72, a retired tennis coach who prided himself on staying active. He'd never been overweight. He still walked a few miles a day. And every morning, he made the same breakfast he'd had for years. Eggs, coffee, and a banana. He thought he was fueling his body. But then came the fatigue, not all at once. At first, it was just a little heaviness in the thighs when he climbed the stairs. Then it became a need to sit down more often, even after light chores. Then the dull ache in his calves that wouldn't go away. Not sharp, just constant. He stretched more, added vitamins, drank more water. Nothing helped. Until one afternoon, his daughter asked a simple question. "Have you changed anything in your diet?" He shook his head. Same as always. Except she knew better. She had been studying nutrition, and she gently explained what he'd never considered. That in older adults, bananas can spike blood sugar quickly, increase inflammation, and even lead to fluid retention in the lower body. That sugar rush Tom relied on each morning was sabotaging his circulation. The fast-digesting carbs were creating insulin spikes, followed by crashes that made his legs feel heavy, sluggish, and stiff. He looked at his breakfast table the next morning and saw it differently. He swapped the banana out for a handful of berries. A week later, his steps felt lighter. His legs didn't swell after walking, and for the first time in months, he made it through the grocery store without needing the cart for support. He didn't change everything, just one thing. But that one thing changed everything, and he couldn't believe no one had ever told him. That's what makes bananas so dangerous for seniors. They wear the mask of health, They look innocent, but in reality, they may be feeding the very weakness you're trying to fight. And the body won't always shout when something's wrong. Sometimes it whispers, a little tightness in the calves, a little swelling in the ankles, a quiet, dragging fatigue in your legs you can't explain. That's your wake-up call. Don't ignore it, because the longer you do, the harder it becomes to take your strength back. Coming up, we're going to talk about a fruit even smaller and even more deceptive. It's tiny, easy to snack on, full of antioxidants, they say. But for seniors, it may be one of the worst choices you can make for joint pain and inflammation, and chances are, it's sitting in your fridge right now. If this is making you rethink your breakfast, tell me in the comments. Have you been eating bananas daily? Just type yes or no. It might help someone else finally connect the dots before it's too late. Next, let's talk about grapes. They seem so harmless, don't they? Grapes. Little, juicy, easy to pop in your mouth without a second thought. A snack you can eat by the handful. Sweet, light, natural. The kind of thing you keep in the fridge because it feels healthy. But for aging bodies, those tiny fruits can have a much bigger impact than you think. Edith used to snack on them every afternoon. She was 77, still living on her own, still hosting family dinners, still the kind of woman who liked to stay moving. She had arthritis in her hands, yes, but her legs were strong. At least they used to be. Then little by little, things changed. It started with a strange tightness in her calves. Not a cramp, just pressure. Then came the swelling in her ankles. She thought maybe it was the heat or her shoes, but it kept happening. Walking to the mailbox started feeling like a chore. And worst of all, at night her toes burned, a sharp stabbing pain that woke her from sleep. Her doctor checked her blood pressure, her joints, ran some tests. Everything looked normal, but it didn't feel normal. One night, while researching home remedies for foot pain, she stumbled on something that made her stop cold. A single line in a forum comment. I cut out grapes and my joint pain got better. She couldn't believe it. Grapes, the fruit she'd eaten her whole life. But the more she read, the more sense it started to make. Because grapes, especially in large amounts, are packed with fructose, a type of sugar that the liver processes differently than glucose. And when there's too much of it, the body starts turning it into uric acid. That same uric acid that builds up in joints, triggering inflammation, pressure, and those sharp stabbing pains in the feet, toes, and knees. It's what causes gout, what fuels arthritis, what silently wears down your ability to move freely. And Edith had been feeding it every day, without knowing it. The next morning, she looked at her fridge differently. She skipped the grapes. Days passed, then a week, then 2. The nighttime burning began to fade. Her ankles weren't as swollen. She started walking a little farther again. Not because of a new pill, not because of surgery, because she removed something small that was causing something big. That's how it works. You don't feel the damage right away. Grapes don't give you a stomach ache. They don't trigger anything loud or obvious. They sneak under the radar, especially when you believe you're doing something good for your body. And that's what makes them so dangerous. Especially if your doctor has never mentioned how aging changes the way your body handles sugar, acids, and inflammation. Especially if you're already dealing with joint pain. Especially if you've had nights, like Edith, where your feet or knees scream at you for no clear reason. You might be looking everywhere for answers, except your fruit bowl, but your body is always trying to tell you something. The question is, are you listening? Because the next fruit we're about to talk about is one people trust even more than grapes. They give it to their grandkids. They drink it in juice. They think it's safe for digestion. But for seniors, it could be a quiet disaster, especially for your joints and balance. If you've been eating grapes this week, drop a quick yes in the comments. If you've cut them out, say no. Let's see how many of us are waking up to the truth together. Next, let's talk about oranges and why something that seems so bright and healthy may be keeping you in pain. George used to start every morning with a tall glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. It was a habit that reminded him of his childhood. His mother used to do the same. It made him feel good, like he was starting the day on the right foot. Vitamin C, natural, wholesome. But lately his mornings didn't feel so good. He'd wake up stiff, not just a little creaky, but slow, aching, tight in the knees and hips. When he stood, he had to brace himself. Sometimes his ankles would pop. Other times his balance would feel just a bit off. He blamed the weather, his mattress, even his shoes. But he never thought to blame the fruit. Until the day he visited his cousin in Arizona, someone who'd been dealing with the same leg issues. They were sitting on the porch when George mentioned the morning stiffness. His cousin paused, then asked, "You still drinking OJ every day?" "Of course," George said. "Isn't it good for us?" "Not anymore. Because the sugar in oranges, even the natural kind, is strong. For older adults, that citrusy burst of flavor comes with a hidden price. It spikes insulin. It disrupts joint stability. And worse, the acidity can irritate already inflamed tissues in your knees, hips, and ankles." George didn't want to believe it, but he listened. And for 1 week, he skipped the juice. He ate a few berries instead. Added warm water with lemon, diluted, light, and something surprising happened. He got up one morning and didn't need the wall to steady himself. The stiffness was still there, but lighter. Not as angry, and it was enough for him to keep going. That one change led to others. His legs started coming back to life. But it wasn't just oranges. Cherries, another fruit praised for joint health, were quietly doing something similar. The tart flavor, the antioxidants, the promises of reduced inflammation, they sounded good on paper. But for certain people, the natural sugars and acids inside cherries triggered flare-ups instead of relief. A woman named Marlene knew this too well. Every night after dinner, she'd eat a bowl of frozen cherries, her little treat before bed. But the nights that followed brought aching knees. Her hips throbbed against the mattress. She tossed and turned, trying to find a position that didn't hurt. And then there were the dried fruits, raisins, dates, prunes. They sound healthy. They're natural, right? But they're concentrated bombs of sugar, more sugar than you'd ever get from fresh fruit. And for seniors trying to protect their circulation, their balance, their muscles, it's like pouring syrup into a system already under stress. The truth is, it's not just about the fruit. It's about your body and how it changes. What once helped you now holds you back. And the damage doesn't show up like a warning light. It comes as heaviness in the legs, pain in the knees, swelling after meals, that uncomfortable feeling when you stand too long or walk too far. The one your doctor calls just aging. But you know better now, because it might be the oranges in the morning, the cherries after dinner, the handful of raisins that seem so innocent. Your body has been talking, and now maybe you're ready to listen. Coming up next, we'll shift from warning signs to real solutions. If these fruits are hurting you, what can help you instead? What should actually be in your fruit bowl, your fridge, your daily habits? We're about to break it all down with simple, natural swaps that support your strength, not steal it. But first, leave a comment for others reading. What fruit do you eat most often? Just type it in below, because sharing what we eat can help each of us see what we might be missing. Now let's turn the page and start rebuilding your strength the right way. There's something powerful about knowing the truth. It can shake you, it can hurt, but it can also free you. Because once you understand what's been holding you back, you get to decide what happens next. And that's where we are now. You've seen how some of the most trusted fruits can quietly sabotage your legs, your balance, your strength. Now it's time to rebuild. And it starts with choosing foods that don't just seem healthy, but actually work with your body, not against it. After Dolores stopped eating pineapple, she wasn't sure what to replace it with. She still wanted that bright, refreshing bite in the morning. She still wanted flavor. She just didn't want to feel that slow heaviness settle into her legs by noon. So she tried something different. She started adding wild blueberries to her oats, not the huge sugary ones from the supermarket. The smaller, darker ones, packed with antioxidants and low in sugar. Within days, her morning stiffness faded. She felt more stable walking across the kitchen. Her ankles didn't ache after dinner. She hadn't expected much, but her body responded. That's the thing. When you start feeding your muscles, your joints, your blood vessels what they actually need, they wake up. They come back to life. They don't just survive, they support you again. Harold made a different shift. He swapped his banana habit for half an avocado and a boiled egg. High in potassium, yes, but also healthy fats, anti-inflammatory, gentle on blood sugar. Within a week, he was walking farther again. His knees didn't click as much. His legs felt available, like they were working with him instead of holding him back. Sometimes it doesn't take a revolution, just a few consistent changes. Even your drink choices matter. Instead of orange juice, George started sipping warm water with lemon and ginger in the mornings. It calmed his system. His digestion improved, and without that sugar spike, his legs didn't swell before lunch like they used to. And there's one more thing people overlook: minerals. Magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, and even a spoon of natural almond butter at night. They help relax your muscles, support nerve function, and ease the tightness that sneaks in when the day wears on. You don't need a cabinet full of pills to stay strong. Sometimes your plate is the medicine or the poison. And here's the most beautiful part. Your body still wants to heal, even at 60, 70, 80. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's just been waiting for the right support, waiting for you to stop feeding it what used to work and start feeding it what it needs now. Food can weaken you, but food can also bring you back. The question is, are you willing to change a few old habits for a body that moves the way it's meant to? Because if you are, strength is still on the table. And coming up next, we bring it all together. Everything you've learned so far leads to one simple truth: your pain, your weakness, your struggle. It may not be your fault, but your recovery, that's yours to own. If you've made it this far in the video, leave a comment below that says, "I'm ready to rebuild," because that's what we're doing here. Not just removing bad habits, but reclaiming your strength, one choice at a time. Now, let's bring it home. By now, you've seen the patterns, the tightness in your legs, the stiffness that sneaks in after sitting for too long, the swelling that shows up without warning. You've heard the stories of Dolores, of Tom, of George, of Edith, people who thought they were doing everything right, only to discover that their daily choices were quietly working against them. And maybe deep down, you've recognized a piece of yourself in them. Maybe you felt it too. The fear that your strength is slipping away, that the body you've depended on for decades is no longer answering the call. But I want you to know something. It's not too late. Yes, aging changes things, but weakness is not your destiny. Decline is not your sentence. And pain is not something you have to just get used to. The truth is, your body's always talking to you. That dull ache in your knees, the stiffness in your calves, the way your balance feels just a little off when you step off the curb. These aren't random signs, they're signals, clues, your body trying to get your attention. And today, maybe it finally has. Because once you see the patterns, once you realize that even healthy choices like fruit can become harmful when your body changes, you stop feeling helpless. You stop blaming age. You start making decisions that support your future instead of repeating your past. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware and consistent. Swap the pineapple for berries. Replace the banana with a boiled egg and avocado. Let go of the grapes, the juice, the dried fruit. Add in warm water, magnesium, leafy greens. Make those changes with intention and watch what happens. Your legs will speak first, then your energy, then your confidence. You might find yourself walking farther again, sleeping better, standing taller, and realizing, maybe for the first time in years, that you still have power. You are not fragile. If this message spoke to you, if you felt seen, understood, or even surprised, help this reach someone else. Like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs it. And leave a comment below. Which fruit surprised you the most today? Your story might help someone else rethink their habits and reclaim their strength. You have more control than you think. Don't let quiet mistakes steal your independence. You are someone who's learning, adjusting, growing stronger with every decision. And that makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Because this world tells older people to shrink, to settle, to accept decline as a fact of life. But what if instead you became one of the few who decided to fight back? What if this video was your turning point? It can be. That choice is yours. And if you're still here, watching, feeling something stir inside you, maybe that choice has already been made. If this message hit you in the heart, if it opened your eyes, then don't let it end here. Click subscribe, tap the bell, and share this video with someone you care about. Because this isn't just about you. It's about every senior who deserves to walk strong, live independently, and feel proud of the body they're in. And in the comments below, I want you to declare it. I choose strength. Say it, write it, believe it, because it's true and your body is waiting to prove it.